Ateez released their mini-album The World Episode 1 Movement and were instantly praised not only for a great title track, but for some of their best B-sides. One of them is The Ring, which blew many people away with its dark yet alluring sound.
The Ring was composed and arranged by Eden, Alonder, Lise, Buddy, Pepperoni, Olive, and Maddox, collectively known by the fans as Edenary.
The lyrics contain the same names, as well as the Ateez members Hongjung and Mingi.
The Ring was praised for its dark yet epic atmosphere, so let's break down the elements which contribute to the sound.
Previously we discussed how songs are built on tension in release and that a good song will carefully balance the two. We want to keep things interesting while still giving the listener more of what they want. We have discussed some more technical and musical approaches for that, however, the concept of tension in release is not reserved for music only. In fact, it is core to most forms of storytelling. But why would we care? Well, what is a song if not just another way to tell a story? In fact, Ateez stand out with a rich lore which has infused their discography from their very debut. And while it would take a long time to explain all of it, in short, the Movement EP tells a story of a dystopian world which prohibits emotion, as those can cause pain and suffering. Ateez are the protagonists which fight for freedom and for everyone's right to live life fully, with all its ups and downs. Naturally, all songs have a rather serious tone, and some, including The Ring, even having a bit of a cinematic feel to them. And, of course, given the dark but thrilling concept, leaning into tension, both literally and in the musical sense, is a given.
So let's look at how Ateez and their production and songwriting team utilize music to enhance the tension their lore suggests.
One way to create tension is by playing with rhythm. Top lines and melodies often utilize what is called syncopation. If we visualize the beats of the songs like this, it means that there are notes off-beat instead of on-beat. This makes the melody more interesting and can even make us want to dance. So is it wrong if a melody always hits the downbeat? Absolutely not, as long as the songwriter has a clear intention with it. This is exactly what we hear on The Ring. The song's first verse starts with a melody which only hits on beat, also highlighted by the kick. Still, this is rather unusual, and to a listener it would communicate something else is coming, even creeping on us. Yeosang's vocals have a robotic sound due to the intentionally heavy tuning and are processed in a way which makes them almost fully blend with the instrumental. All of this keeps us on edge as it both unsettles us and makes us wonder what's coming.
But the rhythm is not the only thing at play here. We can't talk about melodies without considering the pitches, or more specifically the notes in the scale that they use. Various intervals allude to particular emotions, and skilled songwriters know and use this. In the case of the phrase we were just looking at, the notes it is made up of contribute to that sense of something creeping in on us. The melody starts on an E, the fifth note in the scale, and only uses stepwise motion, meaning the notes used are next to each other in the scale. For the most part, the melody moves downwards. You could imagine someone tiptoeing down the dark staircase.
Another way we can create tension is by thinking of space and pauses. Often, when we think about music and songwriting, we think about how to make an interesting melody or make the instrumental feel big. But none of this would be exciting if we didn't offer the opposite in return: room to breathe and also to get us excited for what's to come. We hear this a lot in the verse of The Ring.
The top line is rather spacious. We have 4 places in the verse with a silence of almost a full bar each. The full verse is 16 bars, meaning almost a quarter of it has no lead vocals, a rather rare move. There's also space utilized when it comes to the drums and the bass. In verse 1b, we have the drums and bass missing for 2 bars, alternating with bars which have drums.
All of these build tension in a very interesting way, with the vocals, drums and bass coming in, but also disappearing for a time longer than usual. Itinerary create a start-stop effect. Just when we get into the groove, the rug is pulled right from under our feet, making us feel a bit disoriented. We can compare it with the feeling of ascending on a roller coaster, but we keep on suddenly stopping. We then start moving again, just to be surprised by another stop.
However, we have some repetition which acts as flickers of familiarity in this world of confusion. The rhythm, when we have it, is steady, and the top line for each member has distinct motives which appear more than just once.
The pre-chorus, unsurprisingly, has a different top line, with Jungkook's vocals taking us to an impressive height. The drum beat, however, is already familiar and it grounds us. Not for long though, as in the second half of the pre-chorus, the drums and the bass are once again taken away. The melody descends and has a fairly regular rhythm, which is similar to how the song started. The instrumental is fully cut for the very last note Yuno sings. His voice has a lot of reverb and delay on, further enhancing the drama and darkness. The melody he sings here also takes us by surprise as it shifts into another scale just for a moment. While the song is for the most part in A minor, here we shift into A Lydian, which adds quite a mysterious sound and piques our curiosity as listeners.
The chorus in a song usually serves as a release. The part we've been building up to all this time is finally here. As we have explained before, however, there seems to be something even more satisfying about getting our expectations subverted and needing to wait just a little bit longer than we expect for the actual release. This is exactly what happens in The Ring. While we often have a bar of space after the pre-chorus and before the drop, here we have 2 bars. Let's hear the difference between the 2 approaches. As you can hear, the original has some space to breathe, similar to how space was utilized in the verse earlier. Funnily enough, they do it again before the second part of the chorus, this time with more instrumentation and vocals. The 2 halves of the chorus also overlap in a somewhat unusual way, with the second half being filtered in.
The chorus top line has an ABAB pattern, with the A part hitting on beat similarly to the beginning of the song, this time with more syllables to fill in the space. The B part, on the other hand, throws some dramatic high and long notes at us, not too far from what we heard in the pre-chorus. The whole chorus is delivered in a very strong tone by all of the members, further adding energy and hype. The groove is also familiar. All of this adds to the feeling of release, the getting of what we want, while still allowing space for just enough tension to remain in this part of the song.
The second verse top line is a lot steadier in rhythm than the first one, while the instrumental is the same. The rap's rhythm actually lets us groove for a bit, but we don't fully lose the tension, as we still have that start and stop feel from the instrumental.
The second pre-chorus is the same, except Yuno's descending melody takes a turn at the very end. It slides up instead, ending on a G sharp, once again dipping into A Lydian here.
The bridge begins with lightly sung vocals which sound rather enchanting. We then have a rather aggressive, emotional rap, which once again builds tension and leads us to the highest energy section of the song, the final chorus.
The Ring has a short outro, which perfectly serves as the cherry on top, once again utilizing a descending melody and space. We also hear a reference to a rather popular franchise here as one final surprise to the listener.
But there's another huge aspect of production which this song utilized perfectly to not only add tension, but also drama in that very cinematic way.
having the right instruments and sounds is vital when it comes to musical storytelling, as most of us are raised hearing music casually all the time, in public spaces, with different sounds trending based on the season and the year, but also on TV and in cinema, we grow to associate different sounds with certain moods and contexts.
We hear a metallic snare and an intense hi-hat making the groove feel dirty. It alludes to a somewhat industrial atmosphere, which we actually hear in some of the songs on the show Arcane, which similarly to Ateez lore is rather dark and dystopian.
The bass is a typical 808 bass, which allows for playing long notes and slides which add heaviness. Moreover, when the 808 is taken away, we feel a huge contrast, the whole start-stop feel we mentioned earlier.
In the pre-chorus, we hear choirs, which are another sound a lot of us hear in cinematic scores. In Ateez song, they're a bit more subtle as they also need to make space for the lead vocals, but also so they fit the dystopian vibe we have.
In the chorus, we hear dramatic strings which play a fast ostinato. Fast string ostinatos are often used in cinematic scores as they add a lot of drama, exactly what we hear in The Ring as well. Here is an example from a completely different area of music. This is how Ateez utilize it.
And lastly, in the final chorus we hear an additional instrument, an organ which further accents some of the impactful beats in the section. We need to look no further than Bach to find an example which uses an organ with a similarly dramatic feel.
The Ring by Ateez is a brilliant B-side. It perfectly combines traditional storytelling with various songwriting techniques in order to support its overarching concept.
Are there any other aspects of The Ring which you particularly enjoy? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you like our content, please like and subscribe for more breakdowns like these.